So now that we have had a chance to look at the American Time Use Survey, and of course also time use surveys globally, we have some patterns. So the first thing to realize in the politics of numbers is that what we count and how we count it matters. We have to do a ton of work to make sure that we are counting the right things in the right ways to capture what it is we are worried about. Time Use Survey does that. We do that and we notice some patterns. We notice, for example, that not just in the US but globally, men are more represented in paid work. Women are more represented in hours spent doing unpaid labor. We also notice, as it happens, since the 70s at least, both men and women are engaging in paid labor. So it's not as simple as saying men work, women don't work. Both are working, but at different rates, different levels. It seems to depend on culture, on family structure. It also seems to be that men earn more than women and men spend more time than women on paid labor. And in unpaid labor, it looks as if men and women have different things they do when they are not paid. So it seems as if when women are doing unpaid labor, they are spending more time engaging in family care and household work, less time on leisure, less time on self-care. When it comes to men, of course, they are also doing family care and household work, but they have a little more leeway and they have more time that is spent not on labor for wages, not on family care, not on household work, but just for their own leisure activities. So there are patterns in how men and women use their work, and this is called the gender division of labor. So the American Time Use Survey, like all other time use surveys, is a really useful way for us to just, instead of wasting our time saying, well, it's not true, it's true, men work hard too, women work hard too, and so on, just look at the data. Look at the data. How much time are people spending on what? How hard are they working on that? We got the data. It's called the gender division of labor. But now it gets complicated. I might see a gender division of labor, but that's not the same thing as explaining the gender division of labor. All right? So I still have a couple of steps to go through from identifying the pattern to explaining the pattern. This is the question of causality. So you've heard this, right? People will agree. Men get paid more, women get paid less, men spend more time in paid work, women get more time in household labor. And then you get two very different explanations. Nobody's disputing the data. They have different explanations for this. Some people say, look, and we're going to hear this when we come to Larry Summers later, women are just not as good as men when it comes, for example, to math. Men are just better than women when it comes to math. So it means that when it comes to high-paying jobs, men are better. They're just naturally better. Or conversely, look, and it's not just anti-feminists who say this, sometimes feminists say this too. Women are just better than men at caring, at paying attention to others, as being present, at being compassionate. We're just better at it, which means if you got kids, we're the better parent. So of course, we should be the ones who are going to stay at home, take care of the kids, and the men should be the ones who should go out and earn the income, right? And these explanations are quite painfully patriarchal, but they're also both from the left and the right, and they often are like, I don't know what to tell you. Is it the case that men are just better than women at earning an income at math? Is it the case that women are just more nice, caring, altruistic? And this is not just like we get stuck with the labor, but this could be a question about, does that mean men are bad parents? And a lot of men who are parents would not like to be positioned as the parent who doesn't care because they love their kids, right? So it's a really interesting dilemma. We got the data that shows us the gender division of labor, multiple explanations for it. So now what we need to do is to transition to the point where we start looking at explanations. And when you look at explanations, you're looking at causality. What causes what? Is it women's better capacity to care for children that causes the gender division of labor? Or is it power relations that causes women to be left with childcare? Huh? Same data, different explanations. I got to figure that out. And to get there, I need to go through two steps. First, I need a model, a theory of what's going on. And for the same data set, I can have 3 to 5 theories. In fact, as we go through the rest of this quarter, working with the American Time Use Survey and some additional data, we're going to look at multiple models, all of them explaining the same data set. And then we need to have an evaluation of the model. I have to test the model compared to other models to see if this explanation, this model, is the best explanation for what's going on, or is there some other model that explains things better? Or is it that this model explains some things, but it gets so many things wrong, it turns out it's not really a good explanation, right? Now, we can't do everything in this class. It's only a 200 level class. But when you go further along in your education, especially when you come to courses on statistics and econometrics, you're going to learn about how to test a model. There are entire courses devoted to just that one question. I've got a hypothesis, a model, a hypothesis, and then I have to test that hypothesis, statistics, econometrics. I can't do hypothesis testing statistics in this class, but you're going to come across moments when you're going to see that show up. But for a really full exposure to this question of hypotheses and hypothesis testing, I really urge you to continue with mathematical thinking and reasoning and continue with statistics and data to look at how do you test hypotheses. For now, we're going to just learn a few hypotheses that explain the gender division of labor, and we're going to look at the controversies around those hypotheses, those models, and issues of how to test them.